Hi, this is Lindsay, one of the co-hosts of Beauties and Headcanons. Thanks for listening to the following broadcast on Public House Media.
This is Jenna Burt, host of the Confessions of a Military Spouse podcast here on Public House Media. Thanks for listening to the following broadcast on Public House Media. Once you're done with this episode, I hope you'll come check out my show, Confessions of a Military Spouse, where we dig deep and talk about the unspoken hard truths of what it's really like to be a military spouse. A new show comes out bi-weekly. Don't forget to subscribe on iTunes so you never miss an episode of Confessions of a Military Spouse. Thanks again for checking out the following broadcast on Public House Media.
Hello everyone, it's No Filter Friday on Public House Media. And the tea, kids, the tea on Kevin Spacey is about as epic as it has ever been. Like, it changes by the hour, it's crazy. Kevin Spacey is the new Harvey Weinstein. It's the, I don't even have a word for it, but like, the melting, the bubbling, the percolating of this tea around Kevin Spacey. Ooh. Not only is it more epic than Harvey Weinstein, but it's way more interesting because Kevin's giving it all he's got, basically. So we're going to get into this, but first I'm going to take a second and share the broadcast, because what is tea? And what is spilling it if you don't have anybody to spill it with? You know, that's why I do this show live. Because I love you all so very much. Okay. Share our post. Share our live. How does it sound, David Bobke? How does it sound? It sounds like an interesting episode forthcoming, smiley face. It is. You got it right, sir. You got it right. Share to page on my own timeline. Okay. Smiles on your end. I love you, David Bobke. You're so supportive. I don't know what I would do without you. Anyway, the tea is just too good. It's too good. It's too good. Okay, so what had happened was, in Hollywood, we have all known that Kevin Spacey has an affinity for little boys for a long time. This is not new information, much like Harvey Weinstein's proclivities and preferences were well known around here, and it was barely news, basically because we all knew. It was just kind of news to the rest of the world. So when a while ago, I just did a year in review episode. So like many shows back, I did talk about Kevin Spacey, but it was mostly about how these kids at these parties that these people are getting caught up with did not make it there on their own accord. People supplied them to them, which leads me to think that I might end up doing an episode as a follow-up to that with the Sacha Baron Cohen story that came out. So if you want to talk about Sacha Baron Cohen and his situation in Las Vegas, leave a comment or slide in my DMs or something of that nature, because I'm thinking of doing it, but I'm not completely 100% sure yet. Okay, so with that being said, good old Kevin Spacey got exposed because of some 14-year-old. There was a 14-year-old at a party, and Kevin tried to get him to do X, Y, and Z. My hair is just not. It was so windy. There's been a windstorm in LA today, so my hair is like out of control. And that's what kind of broke the news with Kevin, and he got written off of House of Cards, and I would say that he hasn't worked since, but he has some indie movie booked him. They wrote him out of and completely reshot for all the money last year all the money. Anyway, he was supposed to play Mr. Getty, and he got replaced, and they completely reshot like the majority of that film and put it out, and it was a major financial problem for that studio. So, with that being said, it had gotten kind of quiet. Well, here recently, Kevin Spacey groped, and when they say groped, they mean grabbed his junk, of this 18-year-old at a bar restaurant in Nantucket. And it's really interesting to see like really shady sexual scandals come out of Nantucket, because I thought it was supposed to be, I thought nothing bad ever happened over there. What happened to that? So with that being said, if this is all happening in Nantucket, so that kid has pressed charges for sexual assault against him. And that kid also happens to be the son of a pretty serious reporter named Heather Unruth. I'm not 100% sure on how to say her name. But anyway, he is the son of a major reporter, and supposedly the police, the news is reporting that the police have footage of him grabbing this 18-year-old. So the 18-year-old is obviously of age. That's not the problem. The problem is that Kevin Spacey went up to him and like grabbed his junk or whatever. So he's having sexual assault charges pressed against him, to which he has an arraignment on January 7th, to which he replied with the Let Me Be Frank video that has over 8 million views. 8 million views. It has absolutely blown up. People can't believe that he did it. It's unprecedented. Around Hollywood, we're asking, like, who shot this? Who was the DP? Who directed? I want to know who gaffed it, because the light's a little bit dark for my taste, but that's just me. Who was sitting there with the mic? Who was doing sound? Like, who put this together? Because this is insane. Like, nobody else that has gone, has come down or come up or went down, and either way, in the hashtag Me Too movement, has anybody put out something like this. The closest thing was Harvey Weinstein sending a really pathetic email to way too many people, which is nuts. It's totally, my necklace is like, I think it's starting to break, which sucks. So it's bothering me, and I'm worried about it. That's besides the point. You don't care about my necklace. Anyway, no one's done this. It's really gnarly. And the fact that he did it in character, like as a character from a show that he got fired from, like for this specific thing, like it's really ballsy. It's unprecedented. Nobody saw it coming. And it's just wild. I will say that I personally think it is super manipulative of public opinion. Especially at the end, because at the end he was like, you didn't see me die. You don't know anything. You miss me. You love me. Blah, 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 blah. And that's really, really manipulative, because the only thing that sets these people apart that have either come up or gone down in the Me Too movement is the public perception of them. Like, that's the only card that they have to play. Because if what they did was illegal, and they're, the victims are within their statute of limitations, and they're in fact pressing charges civilly or criminally, their public opinion of that person is the only leg they have to stand on, because that's the only thing protecting, their jobs and their livelihood. So the fact that he made this video and put it out, and it's gotten 8 million views, and it has swayed people to be like, well, I mean, I didn't really see him, and the wheels are turning on it. So it was really ballsy. But Kevin Spacey has done this before. When the news broke about him with that 14-year-old at a party, his tweet was him coming out, and the entire LGBTQ community came for him in the hardest of ways of like, no, that's not us. That's what you did. Like, don't come out in the press as your Twitter response to what you've been caught up on. Like, those are two different things. You don't need to include that, blah, 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 blah. So Kevin Spacey's done this before. It's just that he like really, really amped up the pressure. And honestly, like, I think, in my opinion, as a person who's, been working in this space for some time now, I think it makes him more guilty. Like, his initial tweet of him like coming out of the closet, like as his response to the news of breaking with the 14-year-old, I think was a really underhanded move. Luckily, other people felt the same way, and they were like, no, that's not cool. We don't get down like that. And now that some time has been put on his situation, I think a few people might have forgotten about that tweet, but it's really important. And then he puts out this video, and it's super, super, super manipulative. But at the same time, though, yes, number one, it's manipulative, but number two, I think the real reason he made this video, on top of like influencing like public opinion, is that there's other people that are in this situation with him, and it's kind of like a warning. Oh, hi Greg, how are you? Thanks for coming in. I think this video, Let Me Be Frank, and the character that it's in, and the dialogue that he chose, and the wedding ring thing at the end, and the strategic drinking of coffee cups, I think it's all a warning shot, I guess you could say, to the people that he's been palsing around doing this with. Because unfortunately, where there's one pedophile, there's more, or at the very least, there's like complacency. So like, when, say, somebody like Heidi Fleiss goes down, they want her black book of all the people that she had in on this situation. I think Kevin Spacey's got some names and information on other people that he used to pals around, cruising for little boys for. And his whole like I'll be back thing of Let Me Be Frank, I think is really what it's referring to. Not necessarily like I'm gonna get away with this and I'm gonna be back on House of Cards and blah 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 blah. Oh hi Roger Neal, happy Friday. Oh Roger, you just had a birthday. You have a Christmas birthday. Not that it matters to you. Oh, and Tiara, hello Tiara. I totally quoted you when I read a story that came out today about like 5 hours ago on Kevin Spacey. This story is wild, okay? So he's being arraigned on January 7th for sexual assault, which I told you about, in Nantucket, of all places. And he had his attorneys request that he not have to be present for his arraignment, which is illegal in most places, including Nantucket, because for criminal charges, like, you need to be present for what you're being accused of. So he was denied that. But the fact that he wanted to skip out on his arraignment is crazy. And that just came out like 5 hours ago. And when I read that, I was like, this hoe, seriously? Like, I think they should change the definition of thought, because I think Kevin Spacey 100,000% qualifies as a thought, because he's definitely that hoe over there, for sure. Like, no, you guys go ahead to the arraignment. I'm gonna stay home and have some potato salad. No, you gotta go to your arraignment. He does, Roger. He must think he's still a star. He does, dude. Have you seen Let Me Be Frank? It's dumbfounding, dude. Like, nobody's ever done this before. Like, for sure, it's like some real groundbreaking stuff. But, oh my lord, like, nobody else would do this. Like, Harvey Weinstein might send some stupid emails, but Lord have mercy. Like, putting out a video, that tweet wasn't bad enough a year ago. Oh my goodness. This video's nuts and it's way more shareable, way more viral than the tweet was. Heavens to Betsy. It's just, I couldn't believe it. Like, I sat there and watched it like this. Like, no, this isn't happening. This isn't happening in front of my face. There's no way, there's no way, there's no way. And was he in his own kitchen? Where did they shoot this at? Like, my producer brain is like, what is this? Who made this for him? What's going on? I just can't get it. Kevin will get reality soon. I think so. Like, I think you're right about that. He's probably not really completely comprehending what he's got coming down on his head right now, because he's been going about his business like this for so long. I mean, he is a really, really beloved person, but not in this day, in 2018, about to be 2019, not at the expense of underage kids and certain, like, you know, Netflix has got way more shows now. Like, House of Cards was one of Netflix originals. Oh, David Bobke, you left it. Oh, you look. Okay, so the reporter, the mother of the 18-year-old that was groped by Kevin Spacey, her name is Heather Unruh. Got it. Thank you, David Bobke. You're the best. What's moving behind me? I think it's Zeus. I think Zeus is moving behind me. He murdered a skunk on Christmas Day, and he's feeling very pleased with himself. So he's kind of doing lots of struts. He's a little arm. Let's see here, Stacy. I don't know who's Stacy. Who's Stacy? I don't even know. I don't know her. Like in a Mariah Carey kind of a way. Anyway, this whole situation is just, has news break of him with a 14-year-old at a party, tweets some madness, and comes out of the closet as a way to like try to like cover this situation up. Gets fired from House of Cards, although they keep continuing to go with the show, which is, it's so bittersweet when they do stuff like that, because from a creative standpoint, the show should have been they just should have canceled it, because it's floundering. It's just flopping around like a dead fish. And it's not cute. It's not doing well. But at the same time though, like, it sucks, you know, when you have a show going, because, you know, you get on these things and it's not just about one of the actors on the show. There's a crew of 40, 50, 60, 70 people behind them, and that's how they pay their mortgage and their light bill and feed their kids and like all that stuff. So it's like, it's terrible to shut down a show because of one person. But at the same time though, like, from a creative standpoint, they should have killed it. Voice to text failing. Yeah, it was not. Okay, so Ryder Neal says Netflix proving they did not need him to stay on the air. That's 1,000% true. I didn't look at it that way, but you're totally right, Roger. It is. They were, you know, like, we can just blow past you. And I think that really, really hit the nail on the head, because when they initially started doing House of Cards, Netflix had very, very limited series that they, you know, original series that they were producing and putting out. And over the course of the lifespan of House of Cards, like, Netflix is making just as much as they're acquiring, just about, in the series situation. Maybe not films, but it's really, really grown in this time period. And it's serious. Like, they were proving that they could keep it going. Is it great? No, it's not. People complain about it, but it's still there. It's still working. And it's just, Netflix is one of those companies that will throw money at any, like, even hint of a problem. They're like, just spend more money. Just go crazy with it. Just spend more. And they did. and that's their choice. That's the thing. Whatever, fine. But Netflix is, one of these new companies. Netflix is not an old studio that will take up for people and, cover up for them, hire their crisis management people, round up the PR. They just cut and run. We had this conversation in the year-end review episode, and then the Dan Schneider episode. Like, these either newer companies or companies that are, for whatever reason, they're smaller, new, what have you, are unwilling to spend the dollars that the old system and the old guard would spend to protect people that they work with or they enjoy working with. And that's over. We don't do that around here anymore. They'll bounce you even if you might possibly come up on a case at some point. Like, done, gone, over with. And that's one of the beautiful things about the Me Too movement, is that with those people getting ousted, you're going to have more opportunity for new upcoming people that wouldn't have that opportunity normally, because those slots would be filled. And this new generation that doesn't find that to be, acceptable behavior, that we should just keep propagating again and again and again in the Hollywood machine, because it's not right. They're 100% true. They're 100% right about that. It's unethical, and this entertainment and making movies and making television shows, or even commercials. Some people hate on commercials, but I like making commercials. Like, it is kind of, one of these Wild West businesses that we just kind of are in our own little world and we do whatever we want. And it's probably better to have some introspection and be like, hey, this, and this are cool and they work great. We're going to keep doing that. But that, and that over there is stupid. It's unethical and it's not productive. So we're going to not do that anymore. This is off the table. We're getting rid of it. And that's fine. Like, food has an expiration date on it, doesn't it? Like, it's only good for a certain amount of time, and then it's not good anymore. What happened in Hollywood? Some things expired, and that should be, a lesson that we all take into every facet of our lives. Things aren't forever. Nothing lasts forever. We know this and we say this all the time, but we don't think about, like, the reality of that, of it's got a shelf life. It's got an expiration date on it. At some point, it's going to go bad and you're going to have to throw it away, and that's just the way it is. And it's better for everybody. Would you walk to your fridge and drink old milk that's long past its expiration date? No, I hope not, because you're going to lose your lunch and it's going to be gross. The tea this week. It's too good. It's just too good. But if you have not seen the Let Me Be Frank video, go watch. Even if you have seen it, go watch it again and be dumbfounded, because it is one of the wildest things that I have ever seen come out of this crazy, crazy, ridiculous town. Like, I think at the VMAs, Kanye West should come out and be like, hey, I'm going to let you finish, but Kevin Spacey had the best video of the year. Because he did. He sold it. He sold it for sure. He was super convincing. But I don't think we miss him as much as Kevin Spacey thinks that we miss Kevin Spacey. I think we can live without him. Maybe not House of Cards. Maybe not House of Cards probably can't live with that. It's not like they jumped the shark. It's like the shark died, or the shark like ate a person and then kept running, like swimming around with like someone's like leg hanging out of its mouth, and like, no. Nope. We're gonna not say that we didn't, and just let that one go. Just let it go. Just out of view would be great. But I think this real situation with the Let Me Be Frank video is him warning other people that he's been, pedo pals with over the years, that he's going to sing like a canary, basically. And if they don't, take up for him and try to squash these cases, that he's just gonna out everybody. And I don't think that's such a bad thing. Like, maybe he should out everybody. Like, if they're out here doing bad stuff to kids, out them. Please do. If we have to scrap a Netflix series to save some children, that's fine with me. I'm 100% okay with that. Hang on, let me catch these comments. The shark died and they paddle boarded over it. Yeah, basically. Oh yes, this is Zeus back here. Zeus, what you doing? He doesn't want to be a part of the show. He's upset that I'm even doing the show in here because he's not with it. He doesn't need attention like that. Not on camera anyway. He's not with it. So, with that being said, go watch the Let Me Be Frank video. It will take the words out of your mouth and stomp on them and kick them into a pile of mush on the side of the road. And I have a feeling, maybe not next week's show, but the week after show, we'll probably have an update on this because he's getting arraigned on not this Monday, New Year's Eve, but the Monday after his arraignment hearing. So we'll see what happens with this, because even if it's not juicy, Kevin Spacey's going to make it juicy, because he does things like makes a video called Let Me Be Frank. And if he thinks for one teeny tiny little second that the prosecutors in Nantucket are not going to use that against him, he is out of his ever-loving mind, because they 100% are. So I'm going to leave you with that. God only knows what's going to happen next weekend, but that's okay, because we got lots of tea to spill. And maybe the show after next week, we'll have a Kevin Spacey 3.0 episode, because this is number 2. So it's going to be a never-ending saga. I'm telling you, it's going to be just like Harvey Weinstein. They're going to be fighting for ratings. It's going to be nuts. It's going to be nuts. We're in for a wild ride, because they're both a bucket full of crazy. They're just different flavors, of crazy. So I will see you all next week. Consent, especially when it comes to nightmares. Absolutely. Consent 100% across the board. And in this particular case with the guy in Nantucket, the prosecution is arguing that the guy was drunk and he couldn't have given consent to Kevin Spacey grabbing his in public. So that's how he caught this case to begin with. Yes, Greg, you're 100% right. Consent over everything. So I will see you all next week. Thanks for sitting in for No Filter Friday on Public House Media. Go check out some other shows like Choose to Rise, Coffee with Keith and Katie, Crowned and Dangerous, all those fun shows. And give us, if you're a podcast listener, give us a rating or some stars, or leave a comment, things like that. And I will see you all next week. Bye!